The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB-TV.
Hey everybody, thanks for coming back this week to Doing It with Stiles. I've got a very special guest today. Her name is Sheila Z. Sterling. And the first question that I have to ask you, Sheila, besides welcome, thank you for coming on this show.
Thank you.
Is, what does the Z stand for?
It actually stands for Zalid.
Zalid?
Zalid, yeah. It's an ancient name, and it was tradition in my family that you would take on one of the names of ancestors, and I got named Zalid.
Cool.
It is cool.
Okay. So you are a multi-talented, you got your hands in everything. You do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and you got all kinds of stuff going on. One of the things that you do is nutritional live blood analysis. What the heck is that?
Well, so what that is, and first let me say that everything I do has to do with enhancing the evolution of the species, and in helping to keep everybody well, completely in perfect wellness, at least for 125 years. So I do a lot of different things, it's true, but it's all encapsulated under the sort of that headline. And live blood analysis, when you go to the doctor and he gives you a sheet to go get a blood test and you take it to a lab, that's wonderful. Diagnostics are wonderful. However, that blood is dead in a few minutes and they centrifuge it. They're wonderful for markers. They can tell you what your A1C is, what this is. But what it doesn't tell you is, are you housing bacteria? How much do you have plaque? Do you have what they call spicules? Do you have fungus? Do you have, I mean, it's a plethora, it's a whole world in there. So what
and excuse me for interrupting, but when they do blood tests, aren't they just looking for specific things?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's not kind of a open-ended, hey, let's take a look at this and see what we find.
Right, no, very specific. Okay. And all the tests that you're going to get from your MD are specific in nature, and they are quantitative in nature, which means they're taking a quantitative and they're going to give you a number.
Right.
What's your cholesterol, what's your A1C, what's your homocysteine, different things like that. But live blood is qualitative. What it means is we can take one drop of blood, put it under a microscope, and actually see your blood real time, live. So many people are going through so many things that they said, oh, I had all these blood tests and the doctor said I'm fine, but I'm not fine.
Yeah.
I'm dragging around, I'm fatigued, I don't feel well, I've got digestive problems, all these things. And when we look at their blood, we can see they're not digesting sugar properly. We can see that they're not digesting proteins properly. We can see that maybe they have an overabundance of a particular kind of bacteria. No wonder they don't feel well. They have tons of yeast and, all these things, platelet aggregation, things like that. I mean, we can see a blood clot forming years before it's going to hit you.
Really?
Yeah, so why wouldn't you want to know what's actually happening? Because when it's in that state, oftentimes, the very specific enzymes or specific things that you can take can clear it up. So it's preventative in nature, which is why in Western medicine, they don't quite like it very well. In most countries, it's diagnostic and it's well known.
Our medical profession is not here to prevent illness.
No.
It's here to create patients.
And
sell drugs.
Unfortunately, that's true.
And I mean, I've watched television and you see half of the commercials on there are drug commercials.
Isn't that amazing?
And it's almost like they come up with a drug and they say, okay, now we got to figure out, now we have to figure out a wellness or an illness so that we can sell this drug.
Yeah.
So how does this process work? Walk me through, if I wanted to get a live blood analysis, how would that whole thing work?
Well, you would call me up and make an appointment.
Okay.
And on the day that you're going to have it, you would eat a big meal.
Really?
Yes, you would eat everything. You would eat sugar and carb, stuff that you might not normally eat even. And then you would eat nothing for 4 hours.
Okay.
But you could drink water.
Right.
And then you come and see me. And it takes about an hour, which is a long time. Most people only takes 30 minutes, but because of my background, I want to give a lot of information. I want to give people information of not only what we see, but what can be done about it.
Okay, so when you say it takes an hour, you're basically talking about and I'll call it a test if I may, the test itself. Then the rest of the time, that doesn't take any time at all, does it? I mean, that's
Well, it just takes a moment to prick your finger, but under a microscope, the way it is, this blood stays alive for quite a while.
Right. No, and I understand that, but I'm saying that then the rest of the time is, the only word I can think of is a reading or
Oh, yeah.
here's your results, the results
Well,
of what I've found.
Right. Well, you're sitting right there. So
Right.
it's education, number one.
Right.
And
So it's not like you go home and I'll call you in a week and let you know what the results are.
No, it's right there. Not only that, I also send a full report. We take pictures and explanations with the recommendations and things like that if I have any to give you. So, yeah, it's really an amazing tool. It's a great tool in anybody's tool belt.
And in most cases, because I have to go get blood tests every 6 months, and I'm always told I have to fast for 12 hours before I take the test. And you're telling me if I come and take your test, I have to eat a big
Yes.
meal and then just fast for 4 hours.
Yeah, that is true, because a lot of this has to do with
Well, I could go for 4 hours without coffee, so I could do that.
Yes. Well, the reason for that is you fast for 12 hours simply because they're using the blood as a marker. We're actually looking at the live blood. And I have people that come and say, oh, I did so well, I just ate some lettuce. And I'm like, well, okay, let's reschedule, because guess what? If you only eat lettuce, how am I going to tell how you're digesting protein?
Right.
How am I going to see what your body's doing with carbohydrates? Because we used to say you are what you eat, but actually you are what you absorb. It's not actually what we're eating, but what is the body doing with it once it gets in? There are people who are drinking water who are absolutely dehydrated. Their blood is dehydrated. I can't even read it. And I have something for that too. There's a product that I think it's Tomorrow's Science Today, and somebody comes and their blood is so coagulated I can't read it. I give them a little shot of this stuff. They hold it in their mouth for 30 seconds, swallow it, we chat for 5 minutes. Then I wish I would have brought the picture, but I didn't. And then I retake their blood, and it looks like a 5-year-old's blood. It looks really good. The cells are hydrated and oxygenated.
So what? If I go in and I take the test, and you look at my blood and you say, okay, so your cells are not absorbing protein. Your cells are not absorbing carbohydrates, or your cells are not absorbing H2O, or whatever the case may be. And I'm not even sure if I'm asking the right questions.
Sort of.
So then what?
Well,
Like you tell me, hey,
well, there's so much
you can eat all
do.
the protein you want. You can eat steak 3 times a day, and you're not going to absorb.
Well, no. First of all, I look a lot at what people's blood types are and things
Right.
like that. Certain people shouldn't be eating a lot of protein like that anyway.
When you say blood type, AB negative, and
O.
B and O,
Yeah, all that.
really? And so your blood type
Yeah,
has
see,
an
a lot
effect
of
on your diet?
Absolutely. See, a lot of most microscopists wouldn't look at that, but because of my background in wellness and the things that I do, I believe it's not one way. I believe it's always. So, like on my protocol, on my 8 weeks, it does that. People come to me with all different things that they want to fix, or
Right.
what doesn't matter what it is. So even though we do it in a small group, and you can do it anywhere in the country, it's specialized per person. So if there's different enzymes, besides protease and all these different kinds of enzymes, there's specific enzymes if you're not digesting certain things, and there's also different foods that will help you digest other foods.
And I know I'm somewhat familiar with that a little bit. Like if you eat beans and rice together, that's supposed to be good for you because it does help your body absorb the protein from the beans. Is that correct? Or
I would disagree with that, but in my world,
yeah,
there is no rice, because almost all the rice for the last 8 years has been contaminated, even if it's organic.
Really?
So unless you have a digestive problem, or you're having a problem in your intestines, which sometimes rice can be soothing and also help, you won't find very much rice anywhere.
Okay.
And you know, see, it's very specific.
And why is that? What is it about the rice
Well,
that makes
first of all, it's contaminated.
Okay.
That's
All
a
right.
big
No,
thing.
no, that's fine,
Contamination
yeah.
is a very big thing. And
That's why I don't eat fish anymore.
I know, isn't that just
Yeah, it's
awful?
scary as hell.
It is scary. We have to be so
Yeah.
careful these days. You know, and then certain vegetables will
And
help.
for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, it's Fukuyama.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
the nuclear plant that's seeping all that crap into the water. So.
Yeah. Fukushima is a
Fukushima,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry, yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, it's gamma radiation isn't good for anybody.
Yeah.
Except for maybe the Hulk or whatever, you know. He seemed to make good use of it, but other than that, I say no.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very important. So, but when we see things just beginning like that, in other words, if I see someone that has an excessive amount of sugar that's undigested and they've waited 4 hours, there shouldn't be any sugar in the bloodstream anyway. But if there's particles of sugar floating around in there, I usually ask them if there's any diabetes in their family
Right.
or whatever, and they're prone to it. But there's so much that can be done with that.
So what if
With
they are
anything.
what if they are taking certain medications?
Mm-hmm.
If they're taking blood pressure or medication for cholesterol or any of that,
It doesn't.
is that going to affect your test?
No, not really.
Okay.
Because people just take what they normally would take.
Right.
And because what we're looking at is a snapshot. We're looking at a sample of what's actually going on in the body. So it's very, very interesting. And if we can help and improve what's going on in the body, obviously that's something we want to do.
Right.
So,
So that's cool. I also know that you have an 8-week course. What
Yes.
is that all about?
the 8-week course is called 8 Weeks to Wellness, and it actually is the same thing. I had a protocol. It's actually the same protocol, but I had a protocol that people did individually for years and years.
Okay.
And I must say, I've had 100% success. Almost every person that has been on that protocol have written or done testimonies that said, "This, no doubtedly, this saved my life." I mean, everything from systemic yeast, asthma, pending prostate cancer. I mean, you name it. And what I did was, because it was like if I wasn't there, we couldn't do it.
Right.
So it was kind of local. So I didn't quite take a year off, but I took a year and I rewrote the whole program into an 8-week program, which now anybody can do anywhere. You still have complete support.
Right.
We do at least once a week Zoom calls, and I think it's actually so much better because every week there's an automatic download of a report. So there's 8 modules. So everybody, we work together, and I don't want to do any more than 10 people at a time, but
Yeah.
sometimes I like small groups. But so you're given this report. I mean, there's nothing left to chance. It's everything, not only what to eat, when you're going to eat it, then there's specific things for different people who have different things, and so those people will be asked to get different either herbs or whatever it is.
So it's individualized. It's
It's
not
very-
a one size fits all.
No, because
Okay.
one size never fits all.
Well,
And not when it comes
duh.
to health and wellness, yeah, right?
Yeah.
So it's really wonderful. I've had tremendous success. There's a lot of video testimonies and a lot, about it. It's actually launching in November, but I've been, for the last 3 or 4 months, I've been doing small groups at a
Right.
very, very, at a big savings for people, let me put it that way. And it's going to launch in a couple of months, but I would like to do one group in October before it does. And I'm just so happy about it because, for example, I had somebody come to me. She was young. She was at least 20-some years younger than I am. And she had hives and rashes all over her. And I took one look at her and I said, this just, my personal opinion, this looks like a liver thing. So she went and checked it out. Sure enough, it was a liver thing. And they wanted to do all things to her. And anyway, she said, no, I'm doing this. And our 4th week, at the beginning of our 4th week on our Zoom call, she was on the Zoom call, and she says, I have to tell you, I don't have any rash anymore. Every single hive has gone away. She says, I can't believe it, that it's really happening. It's like, she says, I did the program, but I didn't believe it would really, make me well. I said, yes, and we're only halfway through, so yeah, let's just keep on going. Because of the way it's broken up into a weekly thing, exactly what you're going to eat, when you're going to eat, and it makes it, I won't say simple, but it makes it so doable. And everything, I mean, people come with migraine, headaches, all kinds of different things.
Now.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Not only that, but at the end of your program, you have all the information you need. Most of these people actually download them and print them out, have them in a big book. This book will be good for the rest of your life. And I have people, that still call me and text me from wherever, like, can I eat this or whatever, like years after they've been on it. And so I'm always in touch, and people always can come back and do refresher at a very, subsidized price.
So this is no matter where you are in the country or the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm very excited about it. Because,
I can tell.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. But usually people, it's unfortunate. People don't normally think about it until something happens.
Exactly.
And that's so unfortunate. I have had a couple of people.
And most people don't feel good. They just don't feel really that bad.
That's right. That's true. And they haven't been diagnosed with anything, so
right.
they think, well, I'll just drink more
this
coffee.
This is what good
I'll,
feels like.
Yeah, or I'll just do this, even though I either can't get up or I can't go to sleep, or
right.
I have headaches every day, and I have indigestion. And
so what are the kind of things? And I like I said, I don't know if I'm using the right terminology, so please correct me if I'm wrong. What are the kind of things that are treatable or that are the focus of what you're doing?
Well, I'm not allowed to name anything or say that this cures anything, but the program,
we almost had her.
Yeah. Whatever it is. I mean, from especially things like if you're type 2 diabetic, it's a no-brainer. But I have so many people, I ask them, how long have you been this way? And they go, 10 years. And I kind of look at them like, I've tried everything. I've changed my diet, my lifestyle. Right. They said it would go away. And I'm like, okay, well, let's do it.
So you were talking earlier about rashes and hives and things like that. What about stuff like psoriasis or eczema or... Yeah, I'm just trying to think of all these weird stuff.
Well, let me put it this way. Regardless of what it is a wonderful, wonderful thing to improve your health.
Right.
A lot of those things that you just mentioned, those are systemic, and our skin is our largest organ.
Right.
So when you have something like that going on the outside,
there's something wrong on the inside.
Inevitably, there are things going on the inside. So, our livers are our biggest filter. And people don't realize that everything they put in their mouth is going to go through the liver, and the more drugs you take and, antibiotics and all of these things, it's more of a load on the liver. So, we want to...
No wonder I'm in the shape I'm in.
No, I think you look in great shape. So.
Thank you. So that's pretty awesome. What is the... If you only had one thing that you could tell people about this 8-week course, what would it be? What is the one thing that you want them to know more than anything else about this 8-week course?
It works.
Very good.
It works.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So
it does, and we have proof it works. So.
And the proof is, how am I trying to say this? You can try to convince me all you want, but if I do this and it works for me, I don't give a damn what anybody else says.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like the proof is in the pudding.
Proof is in the pudding.
If it works, it works.
I just listen to the people who have done it.
Right.
And all the things that they've, said, and how they become my friends, and, years later they're still calling me, so it works.
What's your favorite thing about doing what you do?
That's a very good question. I just, I know this is going to sound crazy, but just helping people to achieve their goals and to feel I'm into a vibrant life. My motto is stay 30 to your 90, and I want to start a movement. And when I see people responding the way, the body wants to be well.
Yeah.
The body is really kind of magnificent. And when I see people going from point A to point B, and they just never thought that it could be a reality, and it is in such a short time, that is like kudos to me. It's like, I just feel so good. I look at this woman who's, she's, been on diabetic pills or whatever for so long, and all of a sudden, her sugar is in normal range and she feels great. She's not sick in the mornings and all the things that are coming up. And I look at the look on her face, her whole life has changed.
Yeah.
And I just can't get a better feeling than that for me. So I think for me that's what it is helping people to achieve their own wellness goals, because when they're fulfilled, that's kind of, I get fulfilled when I see that they're doing great.
Yeah.
That might sound weird, but
No, I completely understand
that's
that.
how it is.
I completely understand that, because there are so many people out there that just, they don't care about you, they just care about themselves. And so it's always refreshing when, we're trying to do something for somebody else. That's always nice. You got a few books here.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us about any of them?
Sure. And can I also say
That's
something
probably
about...
why you brought them,
Well,
huh?
yeah, that would be
Okay.
great. Can we talk about the cruise just for 5 minutes? Or?
Yeah, I
wanna
was
save it
kind
for
of
last?
saving that for
Okay.
last, because that's pretty cool.
That is cool. Okay.
And I thought, that's kind of like,
Okay, so The Anatomy of Healing and Wellness is probably one of the most in-depth books on staying well. You'd have to buy 6 books to cover what's in here. It covers the 4 pillars, the physical form of wellness, the science and the quantum physics of wellness, and how the body works. It covers something that very few books cover, and that is synchronizing the conscious and the unconscious mind. Because when it boils down, your belief system really matters. So if you have a belief system, people think they can't change it, but that isn't true. So
can I read this?
Absolutely.
I have this thing about books, that I just like picking up books and opening up to any page randomly, and there's usually always something there that's really cool.
Okay.
For me. I don't know about you guys. And I just opened this up. This is Anatomy of Healing and Wellness. This is page 121, and I guess this is a chapter.
Yeah, it's a chapter.
Okay, or a section of the book, and it's called Thoughts Are Things. The past, like the future, is indefinite and exists only as a spectrum of possibilities. And that's a quote from Stephen Hawking. I think that's really cool.
Oh yeah, there's so much information in this book from all kinds of brilliant people, because I have a chapter in there, how the past defines our future. And because it's true, and every trauma that's ever happened, even birth is a trauma, it puts a little bit of a skew on the cells, and I'm
Yes.
all about the cells. So it shifts our perspective. And so by the time we get to sort of be an adult, they should teach this stuff in school, really. This should be before you can graduate high school. You'd have a deep understanding of this stuff.
They don't even teach you how to put oil in your car, so you think they're going to get into something like this?
No, I don't. No, I don't. But anyway, it's
These are life skills.
absolutely life skills. And the whole back of the book, so there's synchronizing the conscious and unconscious mind, and then the whole back of the book is using food as medicine. And not only food, but what herbs you should keep. And for an example, like cinnamon. Well, everyone has cinnamon, right?
I love cinnamon.
Well, where do you buy your cinnamon?
Where do I buy it?
Yeah.
At the grocery store.
Just stop.
I know.
Stop. I mean, see that it's the book. It's very, very in depth. First of all, cinnamon you buy in the store is usually Casa cinnamon, which can damage the liver. Number one. Number two, it's been irradiated. If it's in a grocery store, it's more than likely been irradiated. You have to have organic cyan, what they call true cinnamon, and you have to either get it at an herb store, and that
It comes
goes
in the sticks. I mean, like the
well,
curled-
that's cinnamon stick. That's
Okay.
off of the cinnamon bark. That's different again. But so it can come powdered. But if you're using it medicinally, and why would we have spices in our cupboard that aren't doing us the good
just
that they
for
were
flavor.
put here on the earth to do a function?
Yeah.
And, you know, cinnamon, of course, is great for so many things, including bringing down blood sugar. I mean, 6 grams a day
Cinnamon
can
and
help.
honey and lemon and...
Well, yeah, but if you're trying to bring down your blood sugar, you wouldn't be having honey.
No, but I'm
But-
saying that those are all
Oh, my gosh.
things that are
Ugh,
that
yeah.
can do some
I,
really
I have
good
like
stuff
3
for us.
pages on lemons and what it does for the liver when you do it first thing in the morning. Of course, it's got to be organic. So,
And I started now. Whenever I'm out or something and I have a glass of water, I always make sure I got lemon in it.
and make sure you're using it in glass and not plastic.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I know. People
And
come
so-
over to my house with a plastic bottle and they go, oh, look, I've got all, I'm like, dump it out.
What do we got here?
Okay, so this is Love and Illusion. Actually, I used this for the thesis to get my PhD. In 2010, yeah, it's about sociopathic behavior in relationships. One of my specialties is actually emotional clarity, because that's part of wellness, isn't it?
Yes.
People don't overlook that. So it has 4 case histories. One of them is mine, and it's really a great book. It won finalist for the best self-help relationship book in 2010. And I have to say
Wow.
thank you, because it also helped me to qualify for the PhD. Because it was, there's lots of good sayings in there.
There's another one. Yeah. See what I tell you.
Yeah. Oh, that one is not one of my quotes?
It's not about the event. It's about our perception of the event and how we react to it. I've been saying that for 1,000 years.
Yeah, that's one of my
That's
quotes.
one of yours.
Yeah,
I
but
see
there's
that.
there's some other ones that are really good.
Because I'm always saying perception is reality,
Yeah.
and it's how we react to that
Yeah.
that's important.
It's true. Yeah. So that's really an excellent book, and you can actually sit down and read it. And
Love and Illusion: How to Recognize, Recover from, and Avoid a Destructive Relationship.
amen.
Yes. Stay
Yes.
off of Facebook.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
And then what's next?
Well, this is actually,
Wait.
Oh,
What is this?
Vibrant Life. Oh, yeah, okay. So this is the Vibrant Life cookbook. And this came about because of all the people that have done my protocol. You know, they come over to my house and I'd make lunch, or, you know, anyone on the protocol, one of the bonuses is they get all these recipes, which are in here, but, you know, and how, because it's important, you can't just give people a list, you have to tell them what to do with it.
Yeah.
So it's eating for health, and this cookbook has so much information in it. There's actually, it has juicing, it has everything, it even had desserts, but it also has a page that says what foods are good for what organs. So it's far more than just a cookbook, but it has a lot of the recipes that I use in the 8-week to wellness program.
Even chicken soup.
Well, yes. It's mostly it's mostly what people would call either vegan or vegetarian, whatever.
Right.
However, you can't leave out Grandma's chicken soup. There's just something about it that makes you well. So, and I don't force people to be vegetarian or vegan, especially if they're type O, blood type. It's just that the thing is, we have to begin to eat clean.
What's best for type A blood?
Type A, you actually could be vegetarian. If you're type A or AB, you can have a little bit of turkey and a little bit of lamb once in a while. But our bodies were not designed to process a great deal of meat.
So no bacon?
Well, bacon's not very good for you anyway.
I know.
But it's the nitrites. See, that's the
Right.
thing. You can get bacon that has no nitrites, but, so.
Okay.
It's a
Okay,
deep
now-
well.
What do we have here?
Which one? This
I'm sorry, yeah.
Okay,
Is that
so-
a CD or DVD?
This is a CD, and I had my first death experience when I was 5, and
Wow.
I became a seer since that time. And I've drowned twice, and in 1999 I was sort of taken off the planet in a very severe car accident. And it took me it took me a few years to get out of bed, actually, but it took me a long time to get back into my body. I was really pushed out for quite a while. I used to be known as the angel lady, so I can't explain it. But anyway, I used to say, in the moments of no more moments, the angels would come and they would take me soaring. I know this sounds way out for some people, but I'm just telling the truth. And they would sing me this song, and this song saved my life. It brought me from where I was to where I am.
And so that's where this came from?
Yeah, I was finally able to download it, and not only that, it's mostly my voice. It's beautiful tones, and I have a brain chart because I had significant brain injuries in this, and it took many years to kind of overcome them or love them so much that they just had to get better, right? So, but in that, when after this was downloaded, I used to do a thing called neurofeedback, where they hook you up, your brain to all these things, and actually what you do is you look into a computer, and they just run it, and it does the alpha, beta, theta, delta brain waves, and your eyes see that the brain is malfunctioning, and it begins to fix it. It's astounding. I mean, because I couldn't even really speak very well. I stuttered. I couldn't speak well after the accident for a long while. But
and that's where a lot of the old mind over matter comes into it. That we can, in fact, heal ourselves to a certain extent.
Yeah. Look, it says here, unleashing the healer within to stay 30 till you're 90. So with this music, I have a chart where you can see my brain, and it's not really human. Nobody wants their brain to look like that. And all they did, they put the headphones on after this was recorded. And it's in the same moment. You can see it's on the same line. Nobody's brain is that perfect. Everyone is just completely, so it's really doing something. And I have there's a lot of people that use it not only to heal themselves, but they use it in their practices. People use it for massage, but you just don't listen to it when you're driving. That's all I ask. That's the instructions with it. Don't drive with it. But that's where this came from.
Cool.
So yeah, and I hope I've had something else downloadable that I hope to put. It was many years ago. I just haven't put it down. I know that I can walk people across the veil and dispel all fear, and I want to put it onto the CD.
And then bring them back, or just walk them over.
Well, if it's their time to walk them over, yeah. So.
Okay, so now we get to talk about the cool thing.
Oh, okay.
This is and this is actually how I met you. Was what, a year ago, 2 years ago now?
Probably.
The first
one?
one?
Oh, that's right. That was 3 years ago. This is our third one.
Wow. Time flies when you're having fun.
Flies.
This is the Anti-Aging Getaway Cruise.
Ta-da.
It's on a cruise ship.
It is.
And you're going to Cabo San Lucas, the
We
Ruby
are.
Princess, to
Yes.
Cabo San Lucas on March 5th through 10th, 2019.
Yes. Got to
Wow.
get your tickets now.
See.
So this is awesome, and it's just so much fun, and we have 6 anti-aging classes on board.
Okay.
So it's really educational, and I do a class usually on catalysts of the body. I'm thinking this year I'm going to do catalysts of the body, because I don't know, there's just so much information there, that can really help people. We have so many catalysts. In other words, if you do this will happen, and this.
Right.
So it's like, how do you know? People are like, that's just so much. How do you know? So you got to put it all down and get the information out there. But there'll be other teachers. We have a couple of fun classes. We have a class called the Goddess Stretch, and we have my partner Goli Amira. She'll be teaching an energy balancing class, but she'll also be teaching belly dancing. And I have to tell you.
Okay, so wait. So she teaches belly dancing and energy balancing.
Yeah.
So
she's been belly dancing for like 30 some years.
okay,
She's really
so
good.
I guess I could see how that could tie in.
I have to tell you though, the men who come with us, they have way more fun than the girls. Way more. with the veils. I mean, they're at sea, and it's just, I mean, that alone it's just priceless. And we have people that have come on every single cruise.
Wow.
They sign up before we even hit the dock for the next one, because
And this leaves out of Long Beach?
it actually leaves out of San Pedro.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it's 5 days, so it's 2 days at sea.
Right.
Then we have 24 hours in Cabo overnight,
cool.
and they run, shuttles back and forth
Right.
every 30 minutes, and then it's 2 days back. It's just, and the Ruby Princess, that's like their premier ship. It is so awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't really realize, but I think they call it the aft, kind of the butt of the ship.
Right.
The way it's designed, when we pulled in to Cabo, they swung that thing around, and we were just having breakfast. And I went and got breakfast, and someone said, wow, why don't, go out back. And I hadn't even been out there. And I walk out, there are these big doors that open up, and there's a pool right down below, and there's tables, but the whole thing is like this, all in the shade, and it's completely open. So I'm sitting like on the lanai, looking at the shoreline of Cabo. I mean, that alone was like,
Yeah.
it was like, it's just so amazing. And I love the Sea of Cortez. So, some people went, more towards the Pacific Ocean, because,
Right.
that's where the break is.
Right.
Not me. The Sea of Cortez has got to be 15 degrees warmer. Not that I love cold water.
Right.
So I just sitting on the beach all day and swimming in the Sea of Cortez.
I've done one cruise, and it was just a 5-day cruise out of Long Beach, down over to Catalina, down to Ensenada, and then back up to San Diego. And
Oh, you've got to do this. This is so
oh
much
yeah,
fun. We've done that one.
and it was yeah, I was ready to sell everything I owned and just cruise
Go
till
on
the
a
money
boat.
run out, and because it was a great experience, and I had brought all of these books and things that I was going to read on the ship, and
Nope.
you don't have time for that.
No,
there's
there's
always
just-
something to do,
yeah.
and the food was so great, and
Yeah.
just like whoa. So I can imagine what the food's like on
Yeah,
the ship.
it's great. And when you're with a
Do
group,
they have special menus for you, or have they created something that's
they haven't. No, they won't do that unless we have. We only take about 20 people.
Oh, okay.
We're a small group. We all sit together. And,
So it's not the whole ship.
No. That someday, wouldn't that be
That'd be
wonderful?
cool,
That'd be
yeah.
a good goal.
Yeah.
However, they do keep some things in the back that they don't tell people about for us. So and because there's lots of greens, you can eat healthy on a ship if you'd like to.
Right. Oh yeah. No.
So
It's what you choose to do.
it's what you choose,
Yeah.
and we know we're privy to what they hold in the back. So it's so cool.
And you're not telling anyone.
And no.
But you just have to know who to ask, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be part of our group. I've taught on a lot of cruise ships in the Caribbean, but when you go alone, I mean, you're really kind of alone. And maybe that was just my experience because I was teaching or whatever. When you go with a group of like-minded people, it's just, you just can't have more fun.
Yeah.
It's like having a little gang to hang out with, and we all go to the beach, and then we, and we dance the night away if you want to. There's dancing half the night, and
Right.
it's just great.
Cool. So the 8-week course you said is coming up in November.
It's launching in November. I would like very much to do one actually coming up in the next couple of weeks before it launches, because when it launches, let me just put it this way, you can save about 80% of the investment by doing it before it launches.
Wow.
Because I plan on joint venturing it with some companies.
Gotcha.
And I just won't have as much freedom to do that. I can give some scholarships once in
Right.
a while, but so.
And you just attended there was a
ANMA?
the ANMA.
Oh
yes.
boy, yeah,
Yeah.
that was amazing. Yeah, that was 3-day conference. It was here.
And for those of
homeopathic
viewers who-
doctors,
who don't know what that is, what is that?
It's the American Naturopathic Doctor Convention every year, and I was there with the company. Remember, in the very beginning, I said there's this little stuff that you can take. Well,
Yeah.
I was there helping that company. They're not brand new on the scene. The science, I'm a science nut, and it's just unbelievable. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. So, you know, so
Well, it's
many
obvious
people.
that you're enthusiastic about what you're doing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
and
I'm
that's good.
Yeah, people go, "Oh my goodness, and you've got a daughter who's 45," and I'm like, "Yeah," and I'm a grandma and everything else. They're saying that's impossible, and I'm like, "Yes," and I actually didn't have my daughter at that young of age, so I believe in saying 30 to your 90, but I shouldn't say but. I say and. I believe in saying 30 to your 90, and the point is, you have to want it. You have to do something about it. You can't just keep doing the same thing that you've been doing all your life and think it's not going to catch up with
Right.
you when you get to be in your 60s and 70s or 50s or, you know, age.
I'm a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
It's all caught up to me.
No, but age actually.
I'm only 39.
Well, I am as well, but yeah, yeah, I have people that come to me who are 39. Who are experiencing things that you would never, ever think would happen to somebody until, you know.
And that's a good point. Most of the people or the people that come to you, do you find that they are older people or younger people, or is it just pretty
They're
much
both.
a mix of a little of everything?
They're both. And that's why when people say, well,
Because
who's your target market? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you have to know your target market. I said, well, I don't know because I know just as many people in their 30s and 40s who are in really big trouble right now as I do people who are in their 50s and 60s. As a matter of fact, I have more friends who are in better health that were in our 60s and 70s than I have friends or acquaintances that I know that are in trouble.
Yeah.
And they're in their 30s and 40s. It's obviously because of what's happened to our agriculture. And,
Oh, it's
Yeah.
it's criminal. I hate
Yeah.
buying produce anymore.
well, you can't. Well,
it-
if you're shopping in a regular grocery store,
Yeah.
it's only a matter of time. Because, you know, unless they outlaw Monsanto really fast, you know, the glyphosate and stuff like that, they know. I mean, this stuff is killing people.
Yep.
And they won't do anything about it. They put it in the soil, so it's systemic into the plants. And what I mean, men never got breast cancer. And I've dealt with that with a number of gentlemen who we made it go away. And a lot of it has to do because of the hormones that they're injecting into the animals that people are eating, especially chicken. I mean, guys love chicken wings, and if you eat enough of them, you're going to become estrogen dominant, and your numbers are going to go sideways.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Scratch that.
Yeah, scratch off that.
No more chicken
Well,
wings.
just come see me, and you know, thank goodness I've been very successful with that, because I know that what happens, if I don't want to get technical, but what happens is that at a certain age, and there's a wide range of that, but the body, a male, physiologically will start to turn testosterone into estrogen when you become estrogen dominant. And as that happens, you see men that have breasts now, and they're getting breast cancer and all these things. There's actually a couple of herbs, which I'm not going to talk about, but there is a combination of herbs that can block that from happening. And the numbers start coming down. Of course, you have to also, while we're doing that, like I said, it's always
Right.
not just one way.
Right.
So, yeah.
So if people are interested in your protocols and the live blood testing, how would they get a hold of you?
Well, you can call me on my landline, which is 702-227-9415, and that will get me wherever I am. Again, 702-227-9415. And my website is truelife-solutions.com.
Now, is that a dash, like in the middle, not an
Yeah.
underscore?
No, not underscore. It's a
Okay.
dash in the middle. It's true, TRUELIFE, a dash in the middle. Solutions, SOLUTIONS.com. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of websites, but that's the main one, and the best way is just to call me. I have a lot of different information, but I don't have. Contacting me is the best way. I don't put everything up on my website.
Right.
I don't, you know, it's just too much. I have thousands of pages and things like that. I have
Then
specific.
it gets confusing and people give up.
It does.
Right.
I have a website for the microscopy. It's called Healthy Cell Solutions, you know, and, you know, that talks, you know, primarily only about that. I have diabetes gone naturally, talks only about that, but there's like, it's ridiculous. There's something like, can't remember the number right now, but there's something like, there's over 17, is it 17 or 70 million people in this country that their sugar's out of whack. And I know,
that doesn't surprise me.
but
in
most
the
of them
least.
don't know it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And I myself had a friend 2 years ago. He actually died and came back, but he had a stroke. And he had a stroke because his sugar was 600 and something, which is enough to kill you. He never even knew.
Yeah.
And I was just flabbergasted.
And then bang,
by
all
the
of
way,
a sudden it hits you.
And by the way, he got so ill taking medications. I mean, he got it down to where it's way too high, but in the 200, mid 200 was just way too high. But he said, I'm not taking the medication anymore. I don't care what happens.
Yeah.
And so I simply, with what he was eating and one product that I use, in 3 weeks we brought his sugar from 250 down to 120 without any
Wow.
medication. So you just have to, for some reason, I think somewhere out there in the cosmos, when I was knocked out, I came back with a lot of information, and I was sort of given a glimpse, what I call actuality. Most people look at life as reality, but there's actually actuality, and that's really the way the universe works. And I seem to
Have you
have a few pieces of
ever
the puzzle.
worked with any mentally challenged or autistic people or anything like that?
Let me put it this way. I do have a number of people that have used this with their autistic children, and
Right.
and that have other challenges, and they say that it's very, very calming. I know this helps with brain injuries and things like that. I haven't personally, because I'm not an MD.
Right.
And I'm not a psychiatrist, so I don't have patience. So I kind of keep it on this level. What I do can help anybody, but specifically if you have something kind of going awry, yes, but my answer would be directly no. But I know that my offerings and what has come through me has been used very successfully by doctors and psychologists and psychiatrists and people dealing with that.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Well, I think that kind of wraps it up for us because I'm getting tired and I need a nap. No. We're running a little bit low on time here. So if you have any additional information that you would like the viewers to know about, now's the time.
Well, I would just like to say that you're in charge. It's all up to you. And the future's in your hands. And it's really time that we take responsibility for our own health and wellness. Please, we can't wait around for anybody to just sort of like a magic wand to say here, or go to our physicians and just start taking pills, because it doesn't end well for many, many people. So just, have faith in yourself and know that you have it within you. You have a great healer inside, and all you need are the tools. And I'm here to help you have all the tools that you need to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. Stay 30 until you're 90, and that's where we want to be.
Cool. Sheila, thank you so much for
You're
coming
so
in
welcome.
today. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome.
And for all of you...
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. That's why we're here. And for all of you that keep coming back week after week, thank you very much. I appreciate it. We love you all here at WWDBTV. And like I always say, if you're going to do it with Stiles.
Ooh,
Bye.
I like that.
Nice work, John.